welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Savannah Smiles. And let's turn that back to normal. Wait. Oh man. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Savannah Smiles. And let's turn that back. Okay, it did change, cool. Today's video is a video I've been wanting to make pretty much since I started my channel. As many of you know, I moved in with Graham back in November of 2019 and it currently is September of 2020. Before I moved down here, I lived about 2 hours north of LA in a relatively small town. I don't mean small town in the way of you know every person who lives in this town sort of way, but in the way of you know somebody who knows this person sort of way. So moving from that to a city that is 503 square miles with cities within the city and just under 4 million people was a little bit of a shock for me. I definitely have heard some people warn of how expensive everything is here and how bad the 405 traffic is. However, there was a lot of things I learned very quickly about living in LA that I wish I had been aware of before moving here. So today, well, not today, but a different day, I made a list of things I wish I had known before moving to LA. Before getting into this, I just want to say I excluded things that are a little bit more typical or that are seen so often, and this is just my own experience, so obviously this is going to vary from person to person. But anyways, let's get into 10 things you should know before moving to LA. The first thing is that everyone can tell who moved to LA and who has lived in LA for their whole life. Graham has lived in LA since he was 2 years old and was raised here. Almost immediately when I'm introduced to his friends, they ask me where I'm from because they can just tell I'm not a local. Graham told me a lot in the beginning of our relationship that I have a lot of small town girl charm. I smile at strangers, I say excuse me when passing someone in a grocery store line, I usually make conversations with strangers, and even more of that stereotypical small town girl stuff. Regardless, if you come from a similar small town girl background like me, people will be able to tell that you are not from LA. That is totally okay though. Los Angeles is what it is because it has become this big melting pot of people of all sorts of walks of life and backgrounds. So embrace being a little bit different from a typical Angelino. I used to feel very self-conscious that everyone could immediately tell that I was from out of town. But seriously, do not take any offense to that. No one looks at it like it's a bad thing. The second thing ties into the first thing, but I find it hilarious. Most of the people who complain about people moving to LA are people who have recently moved to LA. I've had a few friends move down here before I did, and I definitely have seen posts from them, whether it be their Instagram stories, Snapchat, etc., telling people to stop moving down to LA because they're making traffic worse. This is a part of the newbie trope of LA that I have actively not participated in. We all hate traffic, I get it. I also understand that I am part of the problem of people moving to LA, so I cannot complain about it. We all have an equally valid reason to move to LA, whether it be for a career, a fresh start, or to be with someone you love, like I did. Unlike my last item, this is definitely something you do not want to embrace. 10 out of 10 people find it annoying. Speaking of traffic, the third thing on this list is nobody tells you you will end up planning your whole day around traffic. Everyone and their mothers have heard how bad LA traffic is, but what I feel like you don't hear is the lengths that you will go to avoid traffic when you live here. I literally will not go to a grocery store at 5 or 6 p.m. unless I absolutely need something for a dinner I'm cooking. Oh. Okay, well that happened. What should normally be a 30-minute round trip can easily turn into an hour-and-a-half round trip. You will pretty quickly learn to plan your whole day around when it's easiest to run errands. I've even done it where I will go to the grocery store for items that don't need to be refrigerated on my lunch break, and then getting my refrigerated items when it's convenient on the weekend. The fourth thing you aren't told is that traffic and congestion isn't limited to just the streets. I'm personally not a fan of crowds, and if you aren't either, you are going to be planning your whole day around going to places when they are not crowded, as well as planning it around traffic. For example, you'll start going to restaurants earlier or later than dinner hour, going to grocery stores late at night before they close. You get the idea. This, by the way, is especially true of grocery stores. The grocery store congestion is real. The fifth thing on this list is you don't realize how massive LA is until you start exploring it. The city of Los Angeles is almost just a completely county on its own, and it has smaller cities within the city of Los Angeles. Some of these small cities within Los Angeles include West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, and Culver City. When you move here, you'll definitely be shocked as to how big it is when you start trying to navigate around on your own. It'll take a few months for you to get oriented, and you definitely will get lost at some point. The sixth thing on this list is that Los Angeles is so big, nobody knows all the areas. I first noticed this after moving in with Graham. The first place we lived was off the 10 freeway between Culver City and Crenshaw in an area called West Adams. And whenever we were out with people and we would say where we lived, nobody would know where that was. Most Angelinos would not know where this is, and with the size of LA, I feel like Graham and I are discovering new areas all the time. Before moving to LA, definitely do your research into the different areas, and you may just find a hidden gem in the middle of this giant city. There are so many areas to move to, there's almost an area for everybody and anybody. Definitely don't feel bad if you move here and you don't know all the areas, nobody does. The seventh thing is Los Angeles is kind of a bubble for everyone living in it. One of the biggest physical separations in LA is the valley versus everywhere else. And I've noticed that people who live in the everywhere else tend to think that anything north is just part of the valley. Every single time I've mentioned a city beyond the valley, I always get met with a response of, "Oh, yeah, in the valley." One of my favorite instances of this is when I mentioned Santa Barbara, and someone thought it was in the valley, which just Santa Barbara is so far away from Los Angeles. It's like counties north of Los Angeles, so I just found it so funny. I may not know very many parts of LA, but I definitely do know a lot of the surrounding counties, and even like counties north of that. The eighth thing on this list, and definitely the hardest one for me, is I found it really difficult to make new friends in LA. Since everything has been shut down for 6 out of the 10 months I've lived here, I'm sure it won't be as hard for anyone else moving down here. I just had sucky timing. Even still, most of the friends I have made down here have been kind of through mutual connections with Graham. Since there's so many people here and so much going on at any given point, I found it really difficult to make new friends. Everyone is so concerned with finishing what they need to do for the day, they aren't really concerned with chit-chatting with the friendly person in front of them at a Trader Joe's line. My perspective on this just could be that I'm coming to LA from a small town, but I feel that my thoughts on this are still pretty solid. In my personal opinion, Los Angeles' massive population makes it really difficult to meet people. Even if you are chatting with a person in front of you in a line, let's face it, you're probably not going to see that person again, and it would be weird to give somebody your phone number after like a minute or two of talking. It's much less weird to give someone your phone number after you keep running into them in public, but just giving someone your contact information after meeting them once, I feel this is a little weird. On a totally different and lighthearted note, the ninth thing on this list is that 95% of the parking in Los Angeles is paid. Now, where I came from, only maybe 5% of parking was paid, and where there was paid parking, there always was something nearby where you could park and not pay. Usually it would be kind of a premium for parking outside of a restaurant in the downtown area, and then there was parking behind the building that you could go use for free. So essentially you would be paying, you know, whatever it would be to not walk that extra 100 feet to and from your car. But parking here is so expensive, I now understand why people Uber around everywhere. At some points, it's just the same cost, and at least then when you're in an Uber, you can be on your phone in the car and it be totally safe and legal. Now they say that LA is expensive, and I think a big chunk of this is due to the parking. It's so crazy though, you can go blocks away from your destination and still have to pay for parking. I absolutely do not get this, and I don't understand why you have to pay for parking everywhere. Just my 2 cents though, but I don't get it. And the 10th thing on this list is that nobody likes making fun of people from Los Angeles more than people who live in Los Angeles. I found this to be something you can see in TV shows and movies. So for example, BoJack Horseman, where they very clearly are making fun of people living in Los Angeles. Now, keep in mind that I didn't grow up too far away, but I never heard people make fun of people from LA as much as I have heard it living here. I absolutely love how self-aware people are here, and it's kind of fun to join in on those jokes too, the more local I become. And I like that everybody's so lighthearted about it. It definitely makes it super funny and like a fun little inside joke for all 4 million people living here. Alright guys, that was my video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that maybe this helped somebody who is looking at moving to Los Angeles, or just somebody who wanted to see in general what it's like to live here, or at the very least just provided you a little bit of entertainment. Currently it is Spooktober, so I have one of the pillows from my merch line here with me on set, which I absolutely adore. It's a little moonlight cat with a skeleton. So I love it, and so it's on set. If you guys want to check it out, definitely look in the link down below. This merch is only going to be running from September 1st to October 31st, so if you want it, you're going to have to snag it before October 31st. In terms of referral links below, I have my Robinhood link, I have Graham's Weeble link, I have my American Express, so you and I both get miles when you sign up. I have my Amazon, so that way I get a slight kickback when you purchase anything from Amazon, but you will still be paying the same exact price, so you know, why not? And don't forget to smash the YouTube algorithm for the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the smash button. Comment down below, let me know if you've moved to LA, what's one thing you expected, or ask me a question. I will try to answer all the comments as I usually do. And as always, don't forget to